back down the Syndicate Lake and about to get the rod out. I see some fish out here this morning. I was down here at first light just walking around, and the only fish I see were out in front of this swim. I see a good fish show and a bit of bubbling come up, and I've just had a good cast around out. There's a bit of weed, but every now and then you can hit the bottom. So I'm fishing a bottom bait, but I've got a little bit of pop up on it. It's just really taking the weight off it totally, and that will sink down really nice. Got a little bit of foam on to stop any weed getting around the hook as it's going through, and I've got a little weight there and all to keep the hook link down. A bit of foam around here to stop the lead coming off, because I've got these lead clips where the lead comes off really easy, just to make sure that I ain't got a lead on out there. There's a lot of bars and stuff like that. And after my last experience down here 2 weeks ago when I was losing 2 fish, I'm really cautious. And one of the reasons I've come in this swim as well is if you get a chance of hooking a fish in here, you've got a better chance of landing it than the spot that I was looking at earlier on, where there's a lot of obstacles in the way. But let's get this out in the water, and hopefully tomorrow morning them big fish that I see yesterday will be back. It's my 5th trip of the year down here now. I haven't done any vlogs recently. I haven't had a lot of time. Last time we done a bit of filming down here, if you remember rightly, I caught a fish, and I had a great session over 3 days. I ended up doing 3 nights, and over three nights I landed 4 carp. The smallest fish was 29.12, and the biggest fish was 42.8. And it was a fish that hadn't been caught for around 3 or 4 years, and it was one of the ones that I really wanted to get real heavily plated. I didn't even know if it was in here. It was a bit of an amazing day really. I had 3 fish that day, 31 mirror in the morning, the fish that I'd caught previously with a really big towel, real nice looking fish. And then 3 hours later, middle rod went, and that was the 42, it's a cracking fish. And later in the day I caught a common, just under 30 pound. The following morning, again, same area, I had a common 33, so I had a good little session there. There was a lot of fish in front of me. You know, they'd just woken up, no one had really had a decent hit down here. There'd only been the odd fish out, and I just had a hit of fish. I got on them, and the fish kept coming. The funny thing was, all 3 takes, the baits had been out there for a long period of hours. Corkball pop-ups, and I was getting them on the rig that I showed you earlier with a barrel and the little bait on top, but they'd been out there for ages. It was the 2nd day. I think I got here on the Tuesday. It wasn't until the Thursday till I got the action, and then I got 3 takes through the day. But since then I've had a couple more trips. I caught another nice fish, another nice common, again another common, just under 30 pound, a fish that I'd caught previously. I caught that right down in the corner in a little shallow stalking bay. I see 3 or 4 fish going in there, put some bait down there, got a rod in there, couldn't get a bite, and I thought I'd leave it there through the night. About 1 o'clock in the morning I had a take, and I caught a lovely fish. But the last trip I lost 2. One of them was a really good fish, took a lot of line off me and cut me across a bar. Just totally cut me, 18 pound line, and the other fish I lost in the weed. So this trip I'm hoping that we're going to get a fish. I got down here early, as I said earlier. I got down here really early, and I see fish out in this area. So I caught fish out of here last year, sort of this time last year, maybe a bit before, and you know, the weeds coming up out here. I had about 4 or 5 casts around. I just kept landing in weed, then all of a sudden I got 2 rods where I must have hit a little hole or something, and I could feel my lead at the bottom nice, and I've left the baits there. I'm going to wait for this wind to drop off a bit, and then I'll get a load of bait out with a stick, you know, get a nice little spread out there, because there's obviously a nice spot out there. I did find fish earlier up the other end, in the same area where I'd lost 2 last week, but they tend to get in there of a day for a few hours, and then they're out here. The fish that I did see out here this morning was a big fish, so I'm hoping that he's going to be about tomorrow morning out there. We'll get a bit of bait out there and see if we can get him feeding. There hasn't been that many fish out. They tried to spawn, they didn't spawn, but they're sort of in that mood. So there's not a lot going on, but I still feel really confident, because there was 1 or 2 fish that were definitely feeding this morning. I will get a nice bit of bait out. I ain't got none of my 22 mils with me today. I've got a load of 15s. But the spot I'm fishing is probably only supposed 65 yards. Once that wind comes down, I'll get them out there nicely and get a nice little carpet. I'm going to use 2 rods tonight because on my 3rd rod the buzzer ain't working. What I might need to do, I've got 2 saucepans there and I might put a load of pound coins on, you know, sort of proper old school fishing, and you know, bring back a few memories. So that's what I'll probably do tonight. But if I do that, I'm going to put it in close because there's a bit of rope out there on a couple of bars, and it just looks gruesome. So I think if you don't get to the rod quick, the fish in here are always one step ahead. That's one thing that I've found about this place. This is my 3rd season on this lake, and even though I haven't done loads and loads of time, I've got to know the lake fairly well. You can't do much time down here, which is a funny thing really. You can only really come down here once every 2 or 3 weeks. It's not a place where I'm allowed, you know, they let you do loads of time, which is good, I think. You know, it keeps the pressure off the lake and it gives anglers a chance. At the moment there's only 2 other people on here, 15, 16 acres. I think the last fish out was about 4 days ago, so I reckon we've got a good chance tonight, and hopefully I can show you as a picture of another fish. But I'm still really buzzing about the 40 odd mirror. I really am, and I think that's, like, you know, one of my favourite fish that I've seen out of here. Especially when I was playing it, it was unreal because the water was so clear, it just total tap water, and I could just see all these big scales flanking in, and you know, really, it's a brilliant day, and that's what it's about, I'm sure. So hopefully I'll get to catch a nice fish in the night. The last time I fished this swim was about just over a year ago, and I caught a 36-pound mirror, and it's the same swim that I told you about where I forgot me rods and I had to go home and get me rods and come back. So I'm back in that swim, and it's been lucky for me a couple of times, so hopefully tonight it'll be the one.
What you call it? Urban.